This week on The Rundown, we're digging into one of the most profound technological shifts of our time, the transformation of identity itself. As governments, hospitals, retailers, and even workplaces move from cards and documents to faces, fingerprints, irises, and digital wallets, the way we prove who we are is being rebuilt from the ground up. So, we'll explore the convenience and power of biometric systems and the enormous risks they carry around privacy, surveillance, bias, and exclusion. In a world where opting out is getting harder, we ask what it really means to stay in control of your identity. Welcome to the Hello. Welcome to The Rundown. It feels like we've been away forever. It's only been a week. I'm so happy to welcome all of you back to another episode, which this episode we're going to start, I think, I'm going to try tomorrow to post this also as an audio podcast. So we'll let you know next week. Hopefully you'll be able to catch that anywhere you listen to your podcast and get your podcast. But before we do that, let's say hello to this beautiful crew of people. We have a huge panel today coming from all over North America and one guy from over there. But that guy from over there, I'm so happy. I'm going to welcome him back. Hey, Leo, how you doing, sir? Bright and not very early. Yeah. I'm really, really happy to see you, Leo. For what I just know I'm just happy to see you. I'm happy to see all of my regular friends here, Tamra and who else? Lois is here, and Dave and Tony, and who's that guy? Oh yes, Sky over there. I see Sky, and I see the ring. Wait, you were on Romper Room? What do you mean you were on Romper Room? I wasn't on Romper Room. I was 3 years old. That you were 3 years old. Oh, how funny. Oh, my God. I Lois, that's such a great question. I really would love to see that. Oh, wait a second. No audio from anyone but David? Well, no, that's not right. Yeah, they missed your Romper Room story. Why is that happening? That's really all right. Hold on, everyone. If there's no audio coming now, see, I see the audio coming. Let's try this. No, I see the issue. All right, now you're all just being annoying. Be quiet. Hold on. They're making so much noise. I can't think. Hold on. All right. I know what's all right, everyone hang tight. That was you. Let's see. No, that's right. Let's try this. No. But now say so. No, that's not going to do it either. Huh. This is interesting. Why would this not be? Why do you think this isn't working? That would be nice. Sign language would be nice. Yeah. So everyone, if you're watching us, I apologize for this. Bear with us as we try and figure out why There's no audio coming through. That's really strange. Huh.
They all get a lower third, yes.
It looks to me like I'm not getting any audio. I can see that. But yeah, but I can hear you. But there's no audio coming through Zoom, which is so strange. I know. Very, very. Somehow. No, still only David, they're saying. All right, let me jump into. Oh, wow, so interesting that this is not working. Yeah, I see it. So I see their audio coming up on. You know what we're going to do? Here's what we're going to do. I'm going to stop this meeting. I'm going to restart the meeting. I don't think that'll actually help. But this is we will troubleshoot live on air, and I will just keep us going. I see the audio, but it's not. I don't see it in my Zoom settings in the speaker. That's so weird. You think so? All right. So I'm going to start the meeting. But everyone, if you're watching live, stay with me because I'll do this. We'll go like here. So I'm going to end this meeting for all. I'm not sure what will happen to the stream. All right, good. The stream kept going. And now I'm going to start the meeting again. And let's see what happened. I actually think that it was I think there's like a bug or something because I was seeing their audio before. So now let me let everyone back in and tell them not to talk yet. Now wait, no one say anything yet. Hold on. Wait. Don't say anything. Don't say anything. Hold on a second. I'm bringing you all back in. And let's see Tamra. See, you know what's happening? The audio still isn't coming through. That's so strange. You're Lois. Well, I don't think that's really the issue. Why would that not be? Why would that audio not be coming through? That's so odd. If all else fails, we're going to give this like another 2 minutes or so. If all else fails, what we'll do, everyone who's watching, is we will just have the conversation and I will record it. But actually, I'm not sure that I can record it either because no, I can hear it, but this is so odd. Yeah, Dave, check 1, 2. Dave hasn't even joined. He's just chatting in the, yeah. All right, let me check one other place. I'm going to go over here. Super chat. Yeah. It should, though.
I've never used Ecamm.
All right,
I'm just
now
saying,
I bet
Leo,
they can hear.
We didn't have this problem last week. Just saying.
Now I bet they can hear us.
Last week we didn't have a show.
YouTube
Can they hear
people,
us?
tell us if you could. Now I
Can
bet
you
they
hear-
can. Now I think they can hear us. So hold on a second.
Can you hear us?
All right, hold on.
Can you hear me now?
Shh. Let's see if they can hear us. I'm pretty sure I just fixed it.
Well,
I
if
can
we
hear.
aren't
I can hear
talking,
you through
talking
YouTube.
here.
Yeah.
I
All
can
right,
hear
we're
Lois
back.
on the YouTube.
We're back. Well, that's
Okay, David,
frustrating.
what was it?
It was, I don't know. It looks like actually a bug. Interesting.
Still
Program.
fixing Dave though.
In
It's
Ecamm?
in
Okay,
Ecamm, but all right. Well, you know what? We'll deal with it later. Okay, we're starting all over. Hi.
Do you want to
hello,
start the show again?
No, we're not starting the show again. We're just going. Hi, hello, everyone. It's good
We're
to see
missing
you.
someone.
It's really nice to have you back. We're going to get into the news, but I want Dave to come back. Dave, come
And-
back. We miss
Yeah,
you.
so somebody has to watch the
Yeah, we're
thing
just
or
missing
turn
Dave
off the waiting room. You can turn off the waiting room and then
No,
he'll
no,
just
no.
come in with-
I'm not worried about that. That's not the problem. All right, we're back. Happy to at some point talk about what went wrong, but for right now, we got this one empty spot for Dave. Dave, come back. We miss you. All right, let's jump into the news. What do you say?
news to me,
The news
but I
is
can't hear a thing.
the news is that the show is now working. That's the news.
And Dave's back. That's the news.
Yes, the
Dave's
news
back.
is that
That's good.
Dave is back. Actually, the news is
And you're not spotlighted yet.
I don't need to be spotlighted. Don't worry about it.
Oh, good.
Yeah, that's
Then
just
I did something wrong.
that's just for
There we
you.
go.
Yeah. No, the news is Genesis mission. So this reminds me of something that we talked about a little while back. But here's what it is. So President Trump signed an executive order launching this Genesis mission, which is not us going anywhere. We're not going to space. It's a federal initiative aimed at accelerating U.S. artificial intelligence research and development. By the way, we should just... Brody says audio still from David only on YouTube. Vic says resolved. I think Brody, it's because I'm the only one who's making noise. I think that's why.
Right.
So if anyone else on YouTube can't hear, please let me know. Someone say something real quick. Tony, say hi. Hold on a second, because I can see it.
Greetings.
Yeah, I think that's going out. Okay. I'll keep an eye on the chat, though, if anyone sees it. So in any case, what I was going to say is that this has been a crazy couple of weeks in the AI world because of the real race that we now have between OpenAI and Gemini, Google, and I mean, it is on now for accelerating U.S. artificial intelligence. So Trump, in any case, launched this major federal initiative, centralizing federal computing infrastructure and opening vast government data sets to train scientific AI models, positioning the effort as comparable in scale and urgency to the Manhattan Project. It expands public-private partnerships. It's directed by the Department of Energy, which will identify systems and data alongside industry resources. Within 3/4 of a year, the initiative is expected to apply AI to national scientific challenges such as biotechnology, advanced manufacturing, nuclear technologies, and on and on and on. The scary thing to me in here
What could go wrong?
is this centralizing federal computing infrastructure and opening vast government data sets to train scientific AI models. But guys, the government has to get into this work,
Recording,
doesn't
it's
it?
all gone.
But doesn't the government have to get into this? I mean, don't they have to be involved?
Oh yeah, yeah. There's a right way and a wrong way, though. I mean, to centralize it and everything else. They tried this with the intelligence community. You have like 7 layers of intelligence gathering in the U.S. and they couldn't even coordinate themselves. So I had to have an initiative to get everybody in the same channels and referring to each other and passing information around. And maybe this will help with scientific information and corporate registries and all kinds of other interactions between people and their government. But it also sounds like China. So, yeah.
Well, I don't think they want to control it. I mean, they did say
Well,
centralized.
they
What
have
rock do you
what-
live under?
Yeah.
How
I'm
are they
sorry.
not? How are
Really?
they going to use it if they
Tell
don't
us
control
more.
it?
The one time my mic was on. Sorry.
Yeah, yeah, right.
So what's the problem, Sky? What's seriously? I mean, look.
I did a theory and I put it in our chat and I thought, okay, let's do a little litmus test here. And I said, how many cameras are there in London? And it said there's how many? There's
Gazillion.
Quite a story about that
gazillions.
myself.
Right.
Yes.
And then I said, so what's a comparable city in the United States? And it said, well, okay, there's 8 million people in New York. London's got around 8.9. And I said, so how many cameras? Let's just try what's a camera? Because I've heard London, Leo lives in London, and I've heard there's a lot of cameras in London. And they're, again, government sanctioned and government run. And it says, yes, there are, where's my number for in my my notes there? How many cameras it says in London? But compared to what there are in New York is all scattered all over the place. Who's in control of them? But London has so many more. And that I said, so how many homicides are there in London by handgun only? And they said, oh, a couple hundred, maybe. But the point that I was trying to reach out for was, who's in control of the data and how safe do I feel with the people that are in control of it? And that's when it said, well, there are clear legal framework in public in London, where New York, it's kind of scattered all over the place. So this is back down to Dave Troutman's point, is who owns the data and what are they going to do with it? Well, I feel currently with this existing government less safe with their being in control of my data. There's my challenge.
So is it really best that we leave this vital work up to the private sector? I mean, is there no place then for the government to try and jumpstart or accelerate this work?
I think there's a place for the government to be doing this, but I want to make sure the people who are making these initiatives are people who really, really understand what AI is and what this process is. Because right now, AI as we know it is like riding an airplane as we're building it. And that's exciting and it's super interesting and sometimes a lot of fun and a big joyride. And it is incredibly dangerous. So I think that if we don't understand exactly what it is, and there should be organization, there should be legislation. We need to make sure that that it's not in the hands of kids, because this is not a toy. And so that's what my concern is that the people who don't believe in science are going to lead a hugely scientific initiative. And I am interested in
Leo, you're shaking your head.
Yeah, I'm shaking my head because it wasn't very long ago on this show you were talking about how the American government or certain states were not adopting or blocking AI. And this to me is the central government, from what I can read, saying it's time to saddle up and start adapting and accepting that AI is here and we should be using it. And if that is what it requires for the central government to tell state governments to get on with it, then that's key. I totally disagree with the fact of saying that AI shouldn't be in the hands of kids. The kids don't actually see it as something that they need to learn. It's something that they will learn natively or adapt to automatically. I think I was having a discussion with somebody today about how they were thinking that getting a poster painted in AI is not good, and it's like, no, it's just another tool. It's just another tool, and we should be using it. And if we, my feeling is this legislation is saying everybody start using AI. That's what I read it as.
The problem with it using, I think this is controlling. In other words, if you look at what that paragraph said, it didn't say everybody should use AI. It said the government should get as much information as it can, and then the government will take on challenges. And what do they list?
Leverage that power.
Biotechnology. So I think what they say is different than what I'm afraid of. Because I think that they're going to do stuff that they're not going to tell us about.
I also think that if the government doesn't jump into this with both feet and do the biotechnology work and do the nuclear technology work with AI, then someone else will, and we don't want someone else to. So I think
Well,
that's
we had
Do you
that
want your
discussion, didn't
government
we?
to?
Yeah, but we
well,
had that discussion that that if the AI models all end up being restricted, then people will go to AI models that are outside of the US,
right.
because they know,
Yeah.
and that will happen because it happens. Everybody can remember all the wars of. By that I mean the Betamax against VHS, and it was always about the software. And if the software isn't there, if the government or if the US are blocking what goes into the models, or the perception is that there isn't enough data in that model, then people will get the models from somewhere else. And when we look at this, or I look at this, we always used to talk, or we still lots of the times talk about, the current third world, etc. But there's the fourth world that's coming out, which is the India and other countries, which are just going to go straight past where we are. And if you just say, no, we're not adopting this, and we're not letting the government create the models that they need to make their side more efficient, then other countries will do it. And you'll be sitting there going, well, what happened? Why did we get left behind?
And
I don't think that it's about. No, I was
No,
going to
go
say, I
ahead,
don't think
Tamara,
that it's about not having them. It's not about not having them do it, because I do think that the government needs to do it. I think the confusion that a lot of us have is, are they the right people to do it given what their current beliefs are? And also, do they have the breadth of knowledge to understand the full weight of what AI is possible, what AI is capable of? It is great in so many ways, and in the wrong hands, it's not great. And so, we have to know that, and we have to be, what you're talking about is having kids use it to make posters, but what we already have the data of what social media has done to kids' mental health is actually a real problem. And so to have kids being able to talk to ChatGPT and have it lead them astray and lead them into, where they do not have the full frontal lobe to even do what we can do. We have to put parameters around having phones in school, having, making sure that people are trained in teaching kids about AI. And right now, I will tell you, coming out of the K-12 system as it stands at the moment, does not have the capability to rapidly understand the changes as they're happening. That just is not how K-12 education works. And so they're teaching one thing, and look at AI every 3 months is completely different than it was before. So I just think we'd have to have parameters. And I do think the government has to be involved in that.
There's another side to this.
And what we're talking about here is this. Go ahead.
No. Go, Lois. Go.
So what we're talking about here, and the things I've heard Leo and Tamara say, are not what I think this is. I think this is President Trump wanting to create a competitor, a business competitor for the current AI companies. And he wants the government to be that competitor, to take over and then outcompete and be the only one.
I don't read it that way.
That's what I see.
I didn't.
No, I don't. That's not how I see it. Because the government can't. The government cannot compete with these companies. So that would be pointless. I think he wants to.
China?
They don't have the know-how, and these companies are so far ahead already. There's no way that the government could.
No,
could,
but
at this point, compete.
they hold the regulations when they want to. They
also
will
the
remove,
bags of money too.
They will remove. What do you mean? Sure.
They could slow. Yes, I don't see them doing that. I want to offer a flip side to this, which is that our government, American government, sucks at so much that I think this could be huge. If I never have to go to the DMV anymore because AI can now just renew my license for me, I'll be a
I
happy
knew the
man.
DMV was coming up. Yeah, I knew.
Right? I mean, but no, seriously. I mean, think about the
No, I
VA
think you're
and
right.
benefits and
If
all
the
the
inefficiencies
systems.
of dealing with their own
Yes,
citizens
all
are
the systems that are
accelerated,
just so broken beyond
Lithuania has done
repair.
this already. Yes.
Let's get
Yeah.
some good technology in here. Let's
Yeah.
let the government
Right.
build up the
And the
infrastructure
only
that they
way-
need.
The only way that that will happen is if everyone in America has a government ID right there. Like you all have to
Yeah.
carry the card, because that's the only way you'll access this information.
So we're getting on to what's going to be our main topic for the night.
Yeah,
Do you want to finish
little
the
bit.
news with
Well,
the
no,
other
first
news
I want to go
item
to
and then
Tony.
go?
First, I want to go to Tony.
As I'm hearing this, I am disturbed, and the reason why I am disturbed is because I remember very distinctly reading George Orwell's 1984, and this, to me, is the framework or the foundation for the police state that is talked about in that novel. I think the other side of the coin that you mentioned, Rabbi Paskin, is that in order for these things to be automated, there is a structure that is in place that is going to impact people in a way in which we are not really thinking about right now. There is, or there seems to be, again, I go back to this because I think that it's important, that you cannot separate technology from ethics
Right.
and concern for your fellow human being. We see in the news that there is a disregard for human life. And so when you think about the fact that there's probably nobody that loves technology more than I do. But if there is no heart in it, no passion, no concern for your fellow human being, then the logic of the machine will operate in a way that is cold, calculating, and unconcerned with humans.
Tony, can I make a suggestion, or not a suggestion? I want to maybe a little. I want to look at this question, ignoring who is in government. Let's just imagine for the moment that government is a completely neutral player. Okay, I think the fundamental question that we have to struggle with is what Vic and Gary are debating in the chat, right? So Gary says, I would go overseas if the government tried. That is, I guess, tried to, do what we're talking about here. Vic responds, so you prefer North Korea having superior AI resources than the U.S.? Right. So the debate here is not so much about who's in office, whether they're a good person or a bad person. It's about the role of government, and is it more beneficial for us to be ahead in the AI race, in the technology race, or is it more beneficial for us to ensure that AI, and however we get to the next phases of AI, is decentralized and capitalistic in nature?
I would say that my argument does not matter who is in charge.
Right.
I would say that it doesn't matter who's in charge. when there is a lack of empathy, regardless who is in power,
Right.
there the mind of the computer says that if so many people die because of this, then that is an acceptable loss.
Yeah.
That is the mindset that we have to be concerned with when it comes to technology. It doesn't matter what politician is in place, but there are people who do not care about putting out a product that they know is not good, but they will do it because the lawyers and the accountants have told them that, well, you only have to pay out 200 million.
Sure.
But we're going to make
Sure.
we're going to make $1 billion.
Yeah.
And
okay.
I'm bringing that up not so much for talking about the business interest, but that there is a cold, calculating mindset that does not necessarily have anything to do with political.
All right. No, fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah. Leo, go ahead.
I just very quickly on that. Tony, I am absolutely agreeing with you in a lot of points here. However, what I'm going to say is that a good example of industries which have run away with what they've done without control are obviously the tobacco industry and the American automobile industry. Both ran away and decided how many people, what's the acceptable level of fatality that we will allow to make our money. What you need is government to restrain and to actually sit there and go, well, these are the laws and you have to actually put the seatbelts have got to be put in. However, for the government to understand that, the government have got to be in the game. And I think the issue I have is at the moment, the government in the US were talking about not being in the game, not necessarily at the top level, but in certain states they were talking about banning AI in use in local governments or in state governments. That is the thing that you've got to protect against, because if they just do that, then you're out of the race.
Yeah. Sky, go ahead.
Well, and just this week, a government issued protocol to help us not go completely crazy with our gas consumption, our political, our pollution issues, which I was in Tamara's backyard in the 70s, and it was a orange sunset every night. Do you have an orange sunset because of the smog now, Tamara? But you still have how many millions of cars in the San Fernando and the San Bernardino area, right?
Right. But
So just this week, that was poo-pooed, was told, we were told by our the person that signed the document that was making those restrictions go away, that it was a dumb thing. And it was irrespectful, disrespectful, and again, not scientific. So if you want things that are, proven, these are the things that the government has tried to protect and help and come alongside its citizens. And we now have a individual that is at least the head of a very challenging, not societal focused, to Tony's point, protocol. So yes, the David, your question is correct. I think yes, government control can be helpful. Maybe our concern is not that your question is valid. It's we have concern about who's got control of the reins.
I think also how it's phrased, right? Because it's kind of phrased as though we're going to be the leaders in this giant business, as opposed to what we're talking about, which is in California, the smog program, which said, look, your cars have to meet these emission standards. And so we're going to oversee this program. We're going to require that seatbelts are in cars. You don't take your car to Washington and they don't install a seatbelt there. So I think that there has to be a partnership with people who can do these tasks, but also there has to be a deep understanding, both on what are the possibilities and the things that we all love about AI, and what are the the probabilities and what are the dangers, and I do think that requires government insight. I do think it also requires us as citizens to make sure that the people we're voting for, that this is something that they understand, because in the next 10 years this is the game, and if we're putting people in office who are grossly underqualified to at least surround themselves with the science needed to learn what they need to know to be good citizens and have laws and things in place from an informed place, that's on us. We are the people who hire these people. So that's something that we as citizens have to be aware of. This is one of the talking points we need to hear in elections, and we need to know that the people that are there, they don't have to be the brightest, the best and the brightest in AI, but I need to know that they have surrounded themselves with the knowledge they need to know, because this is potentially amazing and potentially really dangerous.
I actually think that, I'm looking now at one of the source articles for this. And we have to remember, by the way, that all this information that we're getting is to a certain extent being filtered through people who have their own opinions about this, the news people and what have you. So this is the actual order itself reads in part, the Genesis mission will build an integrated AI platform to harness federal scientific data sets, the world's largest collection of such data sets developed over decades of federal investment to train scientific foundation models, to create AI agents, to test new hypotheses, automate research workflows, and accelerate scientific breakthroughs. That actually all sounds fantastic to me.
It does, but we're throwing out lots of science in this administration and not calling it scientific.
So that, yes, and someone
so
brought
that
that
becomes
up.
administrative, right?
Right. No, so that's fair. And someone brought that up in the chat also, that there's a serious contradiction here, that in this particular administration, we're defunding science left and right, and here now all of a sudden. So that's I think that's a fair critique. But if we're just reading the order and taking it at face value, this to me actually I think sounds great so far. We'll see what happens. We'll have to see what happens.
And I think that's it. There's two issues at play here, and it's something that from here in the UK it feels very strange for the way Americans treat their own government.
Oh no, it feels strange here too.
Yeah, but
it feels strange here too.
We have this thing that is called elections, with the whole purpose of putting people in play that we believe are going to push us forward. Doesn't mean to say they always do, but that is our control mechanism. And it always feels strange how whenever I have a conversation with Americans, that the view isn't really that the government is their government. And, that's a big difference. So ask Dave what his view is from a Canadian perspective.
Well, that's the other side of it, isn't it? The citizenship question is very, very difficult in America because it has so many layers to it. There's the state, the municipality, and then the federal. And then there's all the agencies who have their own bailiwick. So, yeah, I can see how tough that is. When you have a pluralist kind of construction like the UK, India, Canada, Australia, where you're just voting for your guy, we don't elect a president. And that's a distraction for Americans. It's like having a king. Sorry. Yeah. And then you get to select him uniquely. And I think that's part of the cult that has formed around the White House, is he's not the chief executive officer of the government. He's the boss. And now we have a boss who's a Don. So I think in the sense that you're talking about identity and other things later on, we have a problem with how we understand the use of AI. And it's all great to say it's all going to be scientific. Science can be dangerous too.
Sure.
And things can be weaponized because they were discovered and the military thinks, thank you for all that work you did over there in the NHS. And, give us something that we can do as an antidote to what you guys just did. So I think, in the sense we're all suspicious of the power that it can be wielded by people who are in control of this. And that was where we were at, right? Regulating and control and understanding and being transparent. And I think some governments are more, attuned or accountable for that than we've seen recently in places like, I don't know, Hungary. They can have their own AI and they're doing their own thing, and we have no idea what they're up to. The Chinese from that movie that David put up, the thinking game. When the Chinese found somebody who had a machine that could beat the best Go player, they cut the feed. They didn't want people in China to
That's
know
right.
that they were developing technologies and computers that can beat human behavior. And then they turned around and says, we're investing in this because we could use this.
Yeah, by the way, I shared that. It's on YouTube. I think I shared it with the group. The
Yes, it
Thinking
is,
Game.
yeah.
I thought it was a fantastic
Yes,
movie.
It's a great
I really
historical
enjoyed
record.
It. Yeah,
Yes. Yeah.
really enjoyed it. All right, I'm
Can I
getting yelled
go
at.
to-
Wait, I'm getting yelled at by Leo because we're running long. What do you? Is it okay if I push
You
this
have to leave,
forward?
Leo?
Well, it's 2:30 in the morning. For goodness sakes.
Yeah, I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm
You're
just
okay.
that we're never going to get.
No, we're
this
never
show
going to
never
get to
gets to the main
but
story.
that's okay. We never get to the main story. Did you know? Did you know that there are only 4 Sears stores in the United States? I just learned that last week. That's so sad to me. I used to love getting the Sears catalog. I used to love going to Sears. There are only 4, and it's possible that all 4 of those are going to go. So it's possible that Sears is going to go bankrupt. But you know what's not going to go bankrupt? Amazon, because now they have a new plan to deliver you all the crap that you don't need in under 30 minutes.
I love it. I'm all for it.
This is insane. It's called Amazon Now. It's in Seattle and Philadelphia, offering a delivery of household essentials and fresh groceries in about 30 minutes, which, by the way, you can't really even, you can't do Instacart in 30 minutes. You can't get that. I mean, Instacart's pretty fast, but even 30 minutes. This service operates through small, strategically located micro facilities. Employees pick and stage items for rapid pickup by Amazon Flex drivers. Now, you'll have to pay a little bit. I think it's $3.99 for delivery if you're a Prime member and $13.99 or something like that if you're not a Prime member. Do we really need this? I mean, do we need?
Can you take all the bankrupt storefronts and turn them into Amazon fulfillment
right?
centers?
I mean, is this just
like,
another
how does that-
DoorDash or what is
or a
it?
Walmart?
So the
Walmart
question-
got
Right.
rid of all the hardware stores and stuff, and
Right.
right out of
But
town.
why wouldn't they do this? Of
So the
course.
question isn't, do we need this? The question is, will they
Exactly.
make money by doing
Right.
this?
No,
And
you're
that's
right.
their only concern.
Right.
Well,
Yeah,
they're
but
a business. That's what they do.
And also, I've issues with Amazon, but at the same time, good on them for continuing to grow their business model to serve people, giving them what they need.
But okay, fine. Yes.
But you can already
No.
do this on DoorDash.
No,
I can
know you
already
can't.
get a DoorDash very
But
quickly.
here's what I'm
And
asking.
the
What-
irony is that you brought Sears up as your lead because they were the ones that put the general store out of business
right.
because of the mail order. So
But here-
again,
here's
history
what I'm
repeats
at.
itself.
Here's what I'm asking. I understand that they're not doing it because we need it, but I am asking the question: is this do we need? Is this healthy for us? To live in a society where on demand you can pay someone to run your errands for you and get something within 30 minutes. I don't know. I just
From an accessibility standpoint, absolutely. There are
Okay,
people
fine.
who cannot. So I absolutely think that, again, do you need this every single day? Absolutely not. Get in your car, go down the street. But from an accessibility standpoint, the fact that we can have things delivered and we can allow people to get things when they need them, I'm all for that. I'm absolutely for
so maybe it's
continuing
just
to
me.
find ways to serve our community.
Right. So maybe I just let me just explain. Let me give you a visual of the problem. Okay. On Monday, so I have 3 screens in front of me, but I have it configured in such a way that this middle screen is covering up an inch on each of the. It finally drove me crazy, and on Monday I ordered a proper triple screen. One of those mounting things for the desk. Great. It's not coming till Saturday. And I'm about to lose my mind. I'm literally
And is
about
it
to
not
lose my mind.
coming? Is it not coming till Saturday because you wouldn't pay for it?
No.
And it's coming on the free day?
It wasn't
It's
available to
unavailable,
come earlier. I mean, that's actually true. And I'm a little embarrassed about it. But my point is big. Again, really, I'm wondering, is this healthy? Is this a healthy society where
Okay.
go ahead.
You can't wait for the
So
mail.
talking about the healthy side of it.
Thank you.
So when McDonald's in the UK launched delivery with Deliveroo's the company, Deliveroo makes more money out of McDonald's delivering to people who are less than half a mile away from a McDonald's in the UK. And it's breakfasts and everything that they order that they could have walked to collect. That's
That
what it
doesn't seem
has
healthy to me.
generated.
That doesn't seem
I
healthy.
don't
But
think it is at
again-
all.
But
that's
But you
it's
don't know. You don't know anyone's circumstances who are ordering breakfast
No, they
who
are
could
called.
normally
I
go
do. I do when they're called students.
Yeah.
University students are doing it. This is what's happening.
This has an
there's
effect
no
on how
difference.
cities are.
Right.
Cities are spread out in places like Canada and the US. Like the real estate area of Calgary is the same size as Los Angeles, but there's fewer people. There's lots more distance between everybody. And delivery is the delivery thing is okay when you have lots of highways. But if you go to Paris or you go to London or even in Montreal, it's all built up so that you can have a business on the corner where people will come for breakfast because they only live 5 steps away. And you can't do that in the States. You just don't have enough density. And so I think the sense that Amazon will succeed here only because it can't succeed in a high density environment where what you need for the day is actually just downstairs.
So I actually completely disagree with that. And then I'm going to Lois. I promise. This only works in a high density area because you can't. Otherwise, you can't get anywhere within 30 minutes. Go ahead, Lois.
So Amazon delivers all over the world in rural and whatever, but this quick thing, I agree, it's only going to happen in high density areas. I don't see a lot of difference between ordering your McDonald's or having something frozen in the freezer and heating it up for breakfast. In either case, you are using convenience to cut your time for travel or food or whatever it is. And
But
people
the
do
impact,
that.
but Lois, the societal impact is completely
It is,
different.
yes. No, it's not
I mean,
complete.
yes,
Having it on
absolutely.
your freezer and not walking versus not walking to the
You're
corner
paying
and not
another
walking.
person. They're getting in their car or they're getting on their scooter. They're driving. There's.
So
oh my
they're
goodness.
getting the exercise that you're not getting.
Tony, help me out here.
I'm not sure I can help you out.
I'm concerned, Dave, that you're concerned this much about it because you're asking. Yeah, go, Tony.
I really want to sort of go to a different point of view from this. As a person who needs assistance and has accessibility issues in terms of being mobile, I understand very clearly the importance of how this can be amazing and helpful and all of those things. But one of the things that crossed my mind as we were talking about this was, is this going to be another way in which the mom and pop operators are diminished? Because, you know, we already talked about, you know, the lesson of Sears and then how Amazon is doing its thing. And yes, it's a business, it's supposed to make money and it's supposed to continue to innovate. But as we are, a lot of people, and I don't want to say the majority of people, but I believe this, that the engine that runs the country is the small business operator.
Thank you.
And I see this as another way in which the small operator gets sort of pushed out. And the other thing that I think about this is that when you push out the small operator, you diminish your opportunity for options.
I think.
I drive past this hub in Ballard. It says Seattle. It's in a maybe 4 or 5 miles from the city center where all the big tall buildings are. It's in an area called Ballard. Very trendy. one of the older neighborhoods that has been taken back over by, in my day, we were referred to as yuppies, but the next generation. So consequently, that Leo talked about the students being the ones that are asking for this. Yeah, they're targeting a strategic next generation. No, they're not going after my market. They're not coming out here. They're going out after the population density, serving a need. The irony is it's sitting between a Safeway and a Trader Joe's and several other really good taverns. So there is an irony in that.
But don't you
And
think
there's
that
also not
delivery has also helped the small businesses stay afloat? So the idea that you have smaller businesses who can be on Uber Eats and DoorDash and all these and have their things there, but also Amazon does that. Amazon has done an amazing service for independent booksellers. You used to never be able to read someone's self-published book, and now you order a book and you have no idea if it was self-published or not published. They have Marketplace, so people who have Etsy shops can also, their products come up as well. So I'm not sure that it's like an either or. To speak to your point though, David, about like, do we need this right now? I agree with you. When I sit down and I go, okay, I need something. If it can get to me from 5 to 7 p.m. or get to me the next morning, I'm going to pick that over some other brand because I want it right away. But I also have to like, here's the other side of that. Post-COVID, you can't go and get things in the stores. Even in Target, where you used to be able to go and you're like, hey, I need that cable, and you run to Best Buy or you run to Target and they would have it. There is just less merchandise available for you. It's in my city, because I'm in a major metropolitan area, it's locked behind, lock and key. So you're waiting to get it out. The shopping experience is actually becoming terrible in real life. So it is a huge waste of time sometimes to be going around town to get things, and to have that task where I can, this is an unimportant task that should not take up my time from my kids, my family. If I can have that offshoot and then it arrives at my house in 30 minutes, that's not being lazy. That is saying that is a task that does not require me to get in my car, run to the store. I can be doing other things. So I agree. Do we need it? Yeah, actually, I do think we need it, because some tasks we don't need to be taking us away from other things.
I just think the conditioning that we have been now trained into expecting it, that's such a first world problem.
But
and you're not wrong.
Before Amazon in New York City, you could get anything you wanted by messenger. Before there was anything. You call, the messenger would bring you a sandwich from the deli downstairs, and that was the common thing to do.
Right.
So I don't know that this
the
is
messenger
different.
was getting 100% of the payment that you were paying them for that. And now Amazon's taking 30%.
So
of the
are you? So listen, are you upset that it's Amazon and it's a big corporation, or are you upset that this is actually something that is fundamentally changing our
I'm not
world?
upset about any of it. I just want my damn triple monitor mount to show up.
His thing to hold his monitors yesterday. What now?
I'm part of the problem. Let me be clear about that. I absolutely.
And listen, if it were 2 months ago or 2 months in the future when we weren't in a mass, Christmas holiday delivery, you probably would have had it same day and you wouldn't have had any problems.
Right. All right. I'm pushing us forward, folks. I'm pushing us forward because take a look at this. So this showed up on my phone. I got a message that said, hey, did you know, David, that you can now create a digital ID on your iPhone in place of your passport? You don't even have to use your passport anymore to fly. So I can now walk up to TSA, and because I've done this, takes pictures of your passport, and you have to take pictures of yourself and put all this information in, and I can just touch the thing, and with my Apple Wallet, bada bing, bada boom, I'm in. I don't even need a physical wallet anymore. My digital ID, my whole ID, is right here in this phone. So because I was thinking about this, number one, because of travel, because there's a lot of travel happening over the holidays, and there's a lot of spending happening over the holidays. The other day, I was with our on Monday, actually, with our elementary school kids here, and the teacher was asking them about what is Cyber Monday. You know, what does cyber mean, and what does a deal mean? Da, da, da. And one of the questions, because these are little kids, was, so how do you pay for something that you want? And the little girl who was actually said, your phone. That was her answer. You pay for things with your phone. I love that, because your watch. You're right. Absolutely. Sky's point. Whose watch? Yep. I'm with you. That's the only reason I wear this is so that I can pay for things. So we wanted to talk today, and yes, we are running late, but we also got a late start. That's okay. What do we make of these new biometrics? The fact that now we open our phone by looking at it. This Apple Wallet, Google Wallet, the passport on your phone. All of this. I'm really curious to hear how Canada is addressing this, how the UK is addressing all of this. So let's start stateside, though. Let's start here in America. First of all, am I the only one who has set up their digital ID, or has anyone else done it?
I don't know.
Dave,
I have not, but I would in a second.
Wait,
Yeah.
Dave, you have it in Canada?
Yeah.
Oh, you guys probably had it before us, I'm guessing.
Well, we had a thing called ArriveCan, but now with the phone taking over some of that. But it's really easy to put all your documentation into your phone now. You just hold it up to the camera and it takes it. And then it verifies it with a number sent back to you through text that is, in fact, your ID and your information. And both the government and corporations have agreed that that's a way to do this. And now my bank does it too.
So is this a phone thing, or is this a separate company?
This is an Apple feature, yes.
Oh.
So would you feel confident, Dave, and we'll get to everyone else also, would you feel confident traveling if without your physical documents? Vic is asking, right? Would you risk traveling without your physical? Are you comfortable enough with the digital to just go with that?
I have actually done that, yes, twice now. Going to Japan, Canada has a document for your passport called ArriveCan, and it has all your information, including your travel and all the flight numbers.
What is this?
Automatically
a card,
loads
or what is it? What is it?
Oh no, ArriveCan is an app.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay,
it's an app for your phone. And so when you're going through customs, you just have your ArriveCan. You scan it on a machine. You're not talking to a person. And your machine reads it and says, oh, yeah, you're Dave. We can see on the camera that you match the picture, and you walk by. So you have 5 seconds through customs. Now, in Japan, they have the same thing, where if you've got it on your phone, you just walk right through the line, you tap it on the machine like you're going into a subway, and now you go get your luggage. And when you go get your luggage, your barcode is already there on the Japan thing. It knows what airline you were on and then it tells you in a map where to find your luggage, because the Japanese Tokyo airport is really, really big. And you get out of there in no time. When it fails, you got an hour. Because when you do it on paper, it takes forever. And my son taught me how to do all this electronic stuff. But the first time we went to Japan, we had to do it on paper, and it took forever. The second time we went, getting out of Canada was easy. Getting back in and getting out of Japan was easy, and getting back in. And they do it for the trains too. Everybody walks by the slider, and they just do that. They don't do tickets much anymore at all. So their ID is already carried with them. Yeah.
And apparently, the U.S. is now piloting or starting what they're calling a biometric entry exit program, which sounds like what you were just talking about, using facial recognition at 50 plus airports for arrivals and departures. And what I was reading about this is that you're going to go through customs. You're going to just walk through customs. There will be a camera. It'll take your picture. It'll find you. It'll match it.
It's a little kiosk, yeah.
But
in fact, there's a row of kiosks so that you can do 15 people
walk
at a time.
Right through.
Yeah. Yes.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Yeah, Vic says, what if your phone
I think
gets
Australia's
lost,
adopted our system as well. Yeah.
Right.
Of course, ArriveCan has a political controversy surrounding how much it cost and what client was making it and how much they messed it up at first and all the rest.
All politics.
It's working now, and everybody's starting to use it.
It's all politics. Leo, what does it look like traveling in the UK or the EU? But not just traveling, purchasing, digital identification. What does that look like over there?
It's good that you made a slight slip there, because that's the really important part.
What did I do?
I
did UK and EU.
Said UK and EU. So a lot of the reason this has come about is because the UK left the EU. So suddenly we are presented with having to go through borders, and we have a 90-day limit of how long we're allowed to be in Europe. So anybody, and this is the same for anybody who doesn't live in Europe, you're only allowed 90 days out of 180 to be in Europe at any time, and it's a rolling figure. But the problem is, how do you manage that? So you sit there and you stamp passports in and out, and somebody's going to sit there and have to count the days, which is an impossible process. So there's a new system that's launched in Europe. And the next time I go into Europe, which will be in a couple of days' time, I'm going to have to do my fingerprints to get into Europe. Basically, exactly what I've been doing to get into America for a number of years. So I do my fingerprints and I do a facial recognition, so I'm into the system. The UK have launched virtually identical system for anybody that is non-UK coming in. And so all of these systems are all going to link up. And this is the only way they can do it, is that they need to get through people fast. And the way they will do it, as you say, is to have identification and biometrics rather than having to do paper. And I think it's the right way. I'm not saying that you won't have a paper passport, but the reality is that will be seen as a historical thing, the same way as, sitting there swiping your card and then signing it was we haven't signed credit card receipts in 15 years, I'm going to say, in Europe. We don't sign, to us. When I go to America and you're still, you are still signing, I'm like,
Yeah.
what are you
doing? On the sheet.
What are you doing? You're the only country in the world that somehow thinks that sticking your thumb, putting an X in a box is...
Yeah.
This is
I used my signature twice today, and I realized I had not done that in more than 2 years. I've signed anything.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
Yeah.
Don't do it.
I can
and
scribble
for my
on
phone,
the delivery guide, but this one required my signature. Yeah.
I saved 3.5% by handing my plumber a check because I didn't go through. Yeah, a check. I know, but it was 3.5% because that's the charge that the credit card would charge them. They passed it on to me. And of the 3 checks I had left, he now has one of them because we had such a bad backup. The sewer stories I can tell.
Okay.
Please don't.
Okay. So the point is the adoption here. So we're moving into a new system for all of our IDs in the UK, so that for me to do certain things with the government, for me to file my tax returns and things like that, I have to have a one log on, and my one log on took pictures of my passport and then compared it to me and did all of the various different things so that you get through. So I have to do all of that, and they've now made it mandatory for any company registrations, when you're doing a company returns, etc. You have to have a one log on to do it, and this is just going to continue and continue. And as part of it, there was an announcement. I think I put a thing in our chat today. They've announced that the government, they're extending the facial recognition systems to all the police in the whole of the UK, which probably isn't going to be something that Tony's
meaning what? That they'll have access to them, or
So all of your passport IDs and identifications will be, the government will be, or the police will be able to share it, so they will be able to track you if they need to.
In our city, we just had a registration for doorbell cams. Like, if you want, you can volunteer to offer your doorbell cam to the cops, and they will be able to register you as a person who can contribute. So, yeah.
In a very sort of silly, small way, you're making me think about the Zoom feature, the smart name tags feature, where you can register your face and I think it's face and voice. I could be wrong about that. But I mean, again, it's just a silly. But the way we're accessing everything. Go ahead, Sky.
Well, I was coming to mind, we were chatting earlier about the show, and Lois brought up the fact, and Leo talked about, don't worry, son, on Santa, that, we got your picture, so we know who you are and where you live, and we'll get down your chimney and your present will be delivered. Well, it came to mind that 10 years ago, Microsoft employed a team of us to come into their campus and rephoto all of the employees because that was the latest version of the operating system. And Satya, the CEO, had just, mandated this. But the crying came when people came up to us. I've had my identity card with this picture on it, and it looked like nothing like the person anymore since I started here. And it's like, and they had the ponytails and the Birkenstocks and everything. But yes, they had started 10 years ago in the Microsoft land of getting their 40,000 employees just in Redmond to, re-identify themselves so that their operating system can hold it up and go, yep, that's you. So if you want to work for Microsoft, you have to have your picture taken.
I don't think the issue is pictures, though. It's
a way of control and security within a people group. So they were dogfooding, they were workshopping their own product so that it could be rolled out to the world.
I mean, Vic was mentioning that there are firms that are offering implanted RFI chips to forego swiping ID badges.
Mm-hmm.
Would any of you opt for that?
I don't think so.
I think I would.
We don't need to. I mean, I can understand where people were coming from in the past where they were doing that ID, and kind of remember which is the film where they were sitting there doing the blood samples as they
as they went through.
As they went through. The reality is now the technology is less invasive, but it can monitor and do everything we need. And I mean, it comes down to a classic problem that we always will suffer. And I'm also a big fan of 1984 and the film and what it stands for. But I also sit there. So there's a positive and a negative side. So the positive side of what you were saying is, we are getting Amazon deliveries and people are reporting that their Amazon deliveries are being stolen from their doorstep.
Right.
But they're caught on Ring doorbells. And so the idea hopefully is that maybe that will be stopped because they can actually detect and work out who was doing it. So that's the potential positive. As you say, the negative is that I'm going to be saying this in public. Our road here is 30 miles an hour, and sometimes I do go faster than 31 miles an hour. And we all have grown up in that environment, and will you just sit there the minute you go over 65 on a freeway, get an automatic ticket when you do 66?
How close do they want to be?
Where do these things sit in?
Right. And
can I tell you a London cabbie story? Just a short one.
Go ahead.
So in the mid-90s, I was sent to London to work on a documentary, and the place they put me was Wimbledon, and I had to take a train in toward London, but I had to get at the station, I had to get a cab to take me to the hospital where we were shooting. And I noticed at that time there were cameras everywhere I went, and I told the cabbie, he says, how do you feel about London? I says, well, I'm a little surprised how many cameras there are. And he goes, what cameras? And I said, oh, well, let's start counting them. Well, we got to about 45, and then he realized, yes, we had only gone halfway to the trip, and we had 45 cameras that we could see and observe. And this is from the Troubles. It's all about the Irish problem, and this is mandated because of that problem. But he was just oblivious to this, and I actually scared the guy. He kind of went, I never noticed all these things before. And then I left him wondering what his city is like. So I think the same thing happens when we just get comfortable with the stuff and it becomes normal for us to be able to walk through things, tap our phone, and just get into somewhere. They want us to tap our phone to pay for groceries. I mean, it's all fitting into that same style of why should I have to put my signature on something to authenticate that I'm responsible for that?
Some of it is sentimentality, though. Because I think about, look, I miss going to get a paper ticket for airline travel. And for a very long time, I went and printed the ticket from the kiosk. And now I'm like, this is great that it's on my phone. I don't have to worry about that. Same thing about going on the subway in New York City. I still have some subway tokens floating around from back in the day. And now you don't even have a subway card, which I also loved. It's just your phone sliding.
My car wash has tap and pay. I mean, I don't have have tokens for the car wash.
My new car came with that.
We had a lovely Siamese cat show up at the back door. So kind, so gentle, so loving, and then we wanted to keep it. And then we took it to the vet because maybe it was chipped, and it was. And we called the woman, and she said, "I thought it was dead." And so we went to the grocery store parking lot, and they brought the children, and they brought the baby, and we gave the cat away back to the family. And so there is technology with a happy ending. But
Of
we miss
course.
that kitty. You're so hard.
Of course. You know, I think
The
that
chip saved it.
this is bringing me back, and then Lois, I'm gonna throw it to you if that's okay. This is bringing me back though to our earlier conversation about control a little bit, because when your identity is digitized, at least it seems to me, and I could be wrong about this, that there's also a shift in who controls your identity, who has access to your identity, who can use your identity. And I'm not talking about someone stealing your identity. I'm talking about advertisers, for example, being able to know things about you, your medical history or what have you, or your doctor even having access, or the government having access to this data, and then your health insurance costs, or your, how long you waited at the DMV is, adjusted based on what it seems that the digitization allows for control to also be shifted. And I worry about that a little bit. Lois, I'm sorry, go ahead.
So we have been talking mostly about voluntary identification. That is to say, I choose to have this phone be able to do all those wonderful things that y'all are talking about. And if I say, no, I don't want that to happen, it doesn't really matter, because there's a lot of cameras with a lot of facial recognition, and they're eventually going to find out who you are. So I don't think that there's any way to voluntarily opt out. Now, it may be that there are people who are not going to get picked up by the thing because they don't have access to the technology. They're not traveling. They're not going on airplanes, all this stuff. And for them, it might be a hindrance not to have a phone that can pay bills and do all that stuff. But it's not, I don't think it's a choice anymore. I don't think that if I were to say, no, I don't want, I want to keep my privacy, I don't think there's any way for an individual to actually keep her privacy in the US.
That's actually a really interesting question, Lois, because I have in the tiny little world of business that I'm in, which is around education, I deal with lots of parents and lots of other organizations, and there's lots of transactions of cash and information. And I have tried to push people to use the app or use this or use that. And a lot of folks are really resistant to that. I have families that still insist on paying with check for their tuition. And it's a little bit of a battle, because like you just said, Lois, I'm not the owner, but as the business owner, the manager, I want to push people to the most efficient, effective way of handling those transactions.
Or you could just get an app on your phone where it's connected to the bank, and you take a picture of the check and it's deposited. It shouldn't be too hard, David.
Well, that's easy to say if you're a single person with a little checking account, but if you're a business with, multiple accounts and things that, we can't just take pictures of our checks. But the bigger question is what you raised, which is, should this be mandatory?
No.
Our governments are moving in a direction where you will have to register as Leo, as you were saying, you will, if you want to travel, you will have to register your fingerprint and your face. And that's it.
Yeah, you will not be able to get into the UK without it. You will not get into Europe. You can't get into America.
Then we have to start making it. We have to make
without it.
access a priority because there are more and more things that you can't do without a computer, and we still have people who don't have
Right.
computers.
I don't disagree with that. I'm not
Yeah.
at all. However, if you look at it from a governmental perspective, they're saying, let me deal with the people that I can deal with, and deal with that first. One of the things I did a research for BA, British Airways, and what they were looking at is how to get you from curbside to into the aeroplane within 15 minutes. And the way that they worked out to do it is that you carry on a digital ID and you go through. So what you'll probably don't realize actually happens now with the digital ID is when you go through security, that's when your bags go through. So your check-in bags don't go through until you go through now. So they don't have the problem of, well, we've loaded a seat on and the person isn't,
Right.
their bags are on, but
Wait,
they're
wait,
not.
wait. I don't understand.
Yeah.
You're saying that's how it works right now, or that's how it will
That's
work?
how they're working on it, and it's already done. They know where you are. They push you.
It's like
see
they
you
have an
through
app.
the
You have
airport.
like a tag. What are those things called? The Apple tag. What is it?
Well, they were looking at saying to people would use their phones at the various
Right.
different elements for their
AirTag,
boarding
yeah.
passes, which is your boarding passes on there. But they're also looking at those that don't have it. They will supply a phone. I don't know how far they got with there, but I am going through security significantly faster than I was 5 years ago. The whole process going from curbside to the lounge.
So we must be behind here in
majorly
America because
improved.
I don't feel like it's
yeah.
gotten speedier
Well,
for us.
It has
I
gotten
wrong?
speedier. Like I just traveled to New York from LA in September, and I was really surprised at how quickly I got through security, and how just having even the little bit of handing my phone over with my, boarding pass on there made it significantly faster. Going through actual checkpoints, the security checkpoints are much faster than they were before. And I actually was the hindrance of the person because I traveled with a bunch of technology. They made me unpack everything. I got flagged for this, and it's still, even with the like horrible travel with technology experience that you either skate through or you don't, it still was a faster process than I'd had in a long time.
You know what's funny, Tamara, is when you said, as Sky, I'll throw it to you, when you said handing over the phone with the what do you call it, the boarding pass.
Boarding pass.
I never give them my phone. I insist I will hold it over the scanner. I'm not entirely sure why I feel that way, but something in me says if my wallet is in here, my apps, I don't know. I'm not. You don't need to
So
hold
this was when I gave them, you had to place your phone underneath their scanner.
Yes,
The
on
scan,
the thing.
yeah.
But I hold it
Yeah.
there. I just I
Yeah.
don't. I may just be insane. But yeah, Sky, go ahead.
As a young person, I remember going to Blockbuster. I wanted to rent a VHS, and they required a credit card, of which I did not have. And I thought, this is unfair. They said, well, we do have a way around it. You can give us a check for $150, which we won't cash, but we want to make sure that we get our money's
Are
worth.
you
If you
serious?
don't bring,
You
absolutely
keep the
serious.
VCR tape. Yeah.
I told
yeah.
you there
Yeah.
there was a life before the 1980s, and this was me. So yes,
That
first-
little blue and yellow card,
I-
laminated.
Well,
Oh,
that
I
was
had
just
the
my
card,
ID.
yeah.
That was
I
just my
had the-
ID, but you had to have it backed up by the credit card. And this was
Right.
me in our early days. I didn't have a credit card.
Yeah,
So
it was your
yes,
deposit. Yeah.
we bought one thing on a J.C. Penney's, as we were told to do, to establish credit.
Right.
And then 30 years later, Dave Ramsey says, burn them, take them all down. And I did, and I've been happier ever since. And my kids still to this day don't have a credit card. So it's
Wow.
Okay, so I'm going to ask it the other way because here we don't have checkbooks anymore. I actually haven't had a
or
check.
Blockbuster movies.
No, well, that as well, but we don't have. We make some. We haven't had a checkbook in the UK. I can't think when the last time I had a checkbook. A number of our airlines have now have withdrawn paper tickets. So you cannot print out
Yeah,
your
most
boarding
of ours
pass
are like
anymore.
that
You have to have a digital boarding pass on your phone.
Oh, a second, Tamara.
The
Most
only
most
option is a
American
digital
airlines are
boarding
like
pass.
that.
No, I said some of ours have two. Like you can't,
I
you
didn't know
can
that.
now, yeah, you can in many places go to the kiosk and print it out.
And it can print
But
out there.
Okay.
yeah,
Gotcha.
but there's a lot of them that are trying to do away with it.
But I guess the difference we also have here, because although there are national, regional flights, the reality is the majority of flights in Europe are international.
Right.
So the majority of your flight, and even if you take a national flight, so if I fly to Edinburgh or I fly to Manchester, I still need proper ID into, so I have to fly
And
on
even
on a
Ryanair
passport, even
probably
inside.
is doing that for $14 for.
Yeah,
we used to be
Ryanair
able to
is the one
travel
who's
from-
blocked tickets.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We
because
used to travel from Canada without our
cost it.
passport. We used to
Yeah,
just go
so
over the
did I.
border and come back again. And nobody
Yeah, we
bothered me
can't.
if I had, driver's license ID. And then suddenly, oh, it's all passports now.
Right.
I'm going, okay.
And I think the difference a lot is how huge the US is compared to where Leo lives. Because, I mean, that would fit into one of our smaller states in geography's terms. So there's a lot more inside the country available to us to travel around.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
true.
sure.
I also think that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I also think that the I guess the question that's lingering for me, which we're probably not going to answer tonight, is has identity changed given the new ways that we prove or show our identity? That is to say, the fact that we're no longer writing checks, that we're no longer signing credit cards, that we're no longer perhaps needing to show passports or driver's licenses or any of that, does that change the nature of identity? And if I may, I'll offer just one quick thought on that, and that is that I would argue that it does, because our technology is still really not good enough. It still treats different skin tones differently. Facial recognition is not as good with darker skin tones as it is with lighter skin tones. So I think that this whole conversation is not just about how easy is it to get in or out of a country. It really is about what does it mean for our own identity and the way others see us and the way the government sees us, the freedom to travel, the freedom to purchase, the freedom to participate. Yeah, go ahead, Dave.
To gather in groups.
Yeah.
Well, the distinction I when I read all this stuff a little while ago, I thought we were talking about this, how it affects how you feel about who you are. But I think we're talking mostly about authentication through this whole thing. So authenticating Dave is a real person and not a animatronic person in Canada. Is a difficult thing. And so we've got all these technologies to make sure we can assure that the declaration of who I am is who I am. But it is affecting how we feel about ourselves.
But
And
Dave, can I just clarify
identity is
something?
built around. Sure.
I just want to clarify something. When you fill out a form and the CAPTCHA says, I am a human being, you do check that form, don't you? You do check that box.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
I mean,
that's
you are
authentication.
you're not animatronic.
Oh, I could lie. I mean, it's easy, for that. I could just click the box anytime. And hey, you got to know me to know that I have done surreptitious stuff.
By the way,
like
someone's
that.
going to have to explain to me how that proves that you're a human being, that you can check a box.
But
I don't
it,
understand.
gonna
it only
vote-
proves that you're the guy pushing the button. That's all it is.
I don't know.
Do you
Sorry,
want
Dave,
a
I
real
cut you off.
explanation, David? Because I can give you one.
After
no,
Dave
I'm still,
finishes,
I'm
yes.
still on identity here because it's built around affiliation. We have a location identity. We identify with a location as our birthplace or whatever else. We get our identity from our community, from our heritage, our career, and of course our family. But tech doesn't really have a location effect. It has an authentication effect. And I think what we may be looking at is a generation of people who identify more with their relationship with their computer or their technology than they do a relationship with actual people and actual groups. And when we have groups, church groups or any kind of groups, we have an identity that those people recognize me as an authentic person, and I'm not authentic on the net. That's just easy to do.
I haven't read this book, but I've been hearing a lot of podcasts and reviews about it. It's a new book. Forgive me, I don't even know the name. It's by Scott Galloway, and it's all about young men, basically, and how we're all screwed up and whatever. But one of the things that he talks about is what you were just saying, Dave, is that we have gotten so far down the digital dumpster fire that we've, especially young men, that's who he's talking about, we're not affiliating anymore, we're not associating anymore, and our identities are wrapped up in these digital experiences that are just not nearly as meaningful in his mind as other experiences. Yeah.
Well, as one avatar to another, my vote is that Father Tony gives us the benediction and wraps us up, because we're talking about identity. And I love, Troutman, that you brought up the point of what the conversation's been about is authentication. But who we are as a human is not as technical. It's, I guess, more psychological and more spiritual. And that's where I think Father Tony could bring us up.
I appreciate you raising that. Father Tony, before I jump to you, I'm going to go to Mother Lois because she's been waiting. So hold on a second.
You can tell when I want to talk because yeah. So when we talk about identity, in my mind, that means that I, a person, identify as myself. And so I'm not talking about identity in terms of somebody else acknowledges that this is Lois or any of that other stuff. I mean, that's social interaction. That's also, but my identity is, I think, who I am. And I think that the digital things we've been talking about, the authentication, does not affect my identity, but what has affected my identity and the identity of a lot of people is DNA. And that's a whole other topic, but I think that's much more important than having a phone that can verify that I'm who I am.
Well, until our DNA literally becomes our identity. Right. In the eyes of the government.
You mean the authentication, not our identity.
Sorry. Yes. Thank you. Yes. The way we authenticate our identity. Thank you for that correction. All right, Tony, I didn't dump this on you, but everyone else did. Bring it home.
Oh, boy. Wow. I really was kind of lost in the midst of this conversation about identity for a lot of different reasons, and I really struggled with whether or not I was really going to talk about identity, because I'm old enough that I experienced Jim Crow as a small child, and I've lived long enough to see that there is an opportunity for people to be treated fairly. But it doesn't always manifest itself in a way that there still seems to be a lot of hurt and harm that exist. Part of my identity is that my fourth great-grandfather was a slave, and his name was Cy. No last name. That is a part of who I am. That is not something that people are particularly comfortable with talking about. It is something that a lot of people want to dismiss and not talk about because they want to pretend that it didn't exist. But that is something that I have to hold on to and recognize as a part of who I am. I'm not asking for sympathy. I'm not asking for pity. But I have to recognize that that is a part of who I am. And I really did not intend to really even share this tonight. But Sky pushed me in a corner when he asked me to talk about identity.
As he does.
And so I would say to everyone that there are people who cannot separate the things that they have experienced when it comes to who they are. And that I just ask that you be patient with those people who still continue to struggle with different things.
There you go. All right, friends, we went long because we started late. I apologize for the audio troubles in the beginning. Thank you guys for being so patient. And for everyone who's watching, thank you for being patient. And to Gary and Vic and Richie and everyone who's been chatting online and being a part of the conversation, to Aaron and everyone here. Really glad to have you here. And thank you for being with us. We'll be back next week. If you have, hey, quick administrative note here. If you have things that you'd like us to talk about and kind of tackle from a philosophical perspective, drop me a line over in Discord or find me on Facebook or Twitter or email. I don't care. Just find me. Send it to me somehow. If you want to be part of our panel, definitely hit me up on Discord. We'd love to have you. We love having different voices join us. And I love all of my friends here and all these voices.
Good to see
Thank
Leo
you guys.
again.
It's
Yay,
good to
Leo.
see everyone. And Leo, go to bed. It was so nice having you here. All right, guys. Have a lovely week. We'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.
Now we can hear the music.